The memory of the day Easton picked his family over me is still vivid, like a broken record on repeat. I stood in our kitchen, observing him as he packed his things, with his mother's voice echoing through our space. "She'll never be good enough for a Lynch." My name is Delila, and I naively believed love could overcome any obstacle. I spent my youth waiting tables and studying at night, while Easton's life was filled with luxury, having grown up in a mansion. But when we met at the coffee shop where I worked, none of that seemed significant. "You can't just leave," I murmured, watching Easton place his costly shirts into a suitcase. "After everything we've been through." Easton avoided eye contact. "My family, Delila, they're right. We come from different worlds." I tried to make them see our side. But what? Respectability isn't in my background? My father isn't a CEO. The mug in my hand shook. "I thought you were different." "You have no idea the pressure I'm under," he finally admitted, meeting my gaze. "The family business, our reputation." "No, Easton, you don't get it," I interrupted. "I loved you despite your family's wealth, not because of it." The sound of the doorbell startled us. Tiffany, his mother, appeared in her designer suit, manicured nails drumming her purse, barely acknowledging me. "Easton, darling, the car is waiting," she announced with saccharine sweetness. "Your father is expecting us for dinner." I saw Easton's shoulders slump, the man once promising to always stand by me now faltering. "You should have anticipated this, dear," Tiffany told me, her smile never reaching her eyes. "Someone like you must have known it was temporary." My friend Bree had cautioned me about the Lynches, mentioning their generational wealth. "They'll never accept someone beneath them," she warned, but I dismissed her concerns, convinced Easton's love was enough. "Someone like me?" I stepped closer to Tiffany. "You mean someone who worked her way through college? Someone who values hard work?" "Mother, please," Easton intervened, but Tiffany raised a hand.
"Someone ordinary," she replied.
"We have standards to maintain. Surely you see." The weight of my wedding ring felt heavy. I slipped it off, placing it on the counter with a soft clink. "I understand completely," I said. "I realize your son isn't half the man I believed he was." Easton flinched. "Delila, don't what?" I asked. "Don't make it harder? You've made your choice. You picked them." I turned to Tiffany. "Congratulations, you've won. But remember, you'll regret it, I promise." "Is that a threat?" Tiffany's eyebrows lifted. "No," I smiled with strange composure. "It's a promise to myself." With my keys in hand, I glanced back at Easton one final time as I walked toward the door. His expression was lost between his mother and suitcase. "Funny," I said. "I almost pitied you for growing up with parents like these. But now, I see you're just like them." The door closed behind me, clicking satisfyingly. In my car, I called Bridget, hands trembling as I held the phone. "He's gone," I managed before tears fell. "I'm on my way over," she responded instantly. "Pack your things. You're staying with me." "I can't just—" "Yes, you can and you will. This isn't your story's end, Delila. It's the start." Driving away from the shared apartment, I glimpsed Tiffany's car in the rearview, mother and son returning to their privileged world. They believed they'd broken me, but really, they set me free. That evening, on Bridget's couch with wine in hand, I made another vow, to rebuild, piece by piece, until Easton and his family understood what they lost. "To new beginnings," Bridget toasted. "To revenge served cold," I replied, surprised by my own steel. They overlooked the humble waitress who'd become their nightmare, not through schemes, but by exceeding their low expectations and thriving. "You can't sulk here forever," Bridget declared one morning, sunlight flooding through drawn curtains. "It's been 2 weeks." I pulled the blanket over my head. "I'm not wallowing," I muttered. "I'm strategizing." "Is that what we're calling sad movies and ice cream?" she teased, perched at the couch's edge. "Come, I have something to show you." Reluctantly, I followed her to a home office, where a laptop displayed a commercial rental downtown. The cost gave me pause. "Before you say no," Bridget held a hand up. "Remember your organic skincare line?" Everyone raved about them at the wedding. It started as mixing ingredients for face masks. Even Tiffany praised my moisturizer before knowing my history. There's a market for clean beauty products, Bridget urged. And you already have a winning formula. It was a hobby, I contested. I can't run a business. I lack funds, experience, or the right last name. Bridget's words hit home. Stop letting them take headspace rent-free. Later, the coffee shop door chimed. I need caffeine to process, I argued, but fate intervened. Excuse me, a suited gentleman called as I passed. I overheard talk of skincare. Intriguing. Embarrassed by our volume, I stammered apologies. No. He stood, offering a hand. I'm Leonard, Business Development. I'd love to learn more. Before refusing, Bridget chimed. She'd love to share. She's samples with her. I sent her a look. Undeterred, she nudged me to a seat opposite Leonard. Hesitant, I fished a cream jar from my bag. Leonard scrutinized, inquiring about ingredients, costs, and market targets. His interest peaked at sustainable packaging. Here's my card, he offered. I mentor startups. Your idea holds potential, but more essentially, you have a rare quality, passion, authenticity. I stared at the card. Why help me? Because 15 years ago, someone took a chance on me. Sometimes, that's all it takes. After he left, Bridget practically bounced in her seat. This is it. The universe is literally throwing opportunities at you, she exclaimed. I hesitated, thinking it might just be setting me up for another fall, but there was an undeniable excitement in my chest. That evening, I dusted off my old recipe journal, filled with carefully documented formulas, customer feedback from friends, and cost calculations. Everything I needed was there. I'd abandoned it before due to Easton's family's disdain for my kitchen experiments. The following morning, I called Leonard. 3 months later, I stood in my very own production space, surrounded by mixing equipment and natural ingredients. Leonard had helped secure a small business loan and guided me through the licensing process. The space wasn't much, but it was mine, Freeman Naturals. As we celebrated the official opening, Bridget raised a glass of champagne. You did it, girl, she cheered. We did it, I corrected, including Leonard with a gesture. I couldn't have done this without either of you. Actually, you could have, Leonard countered. You just needed to believe it was possible. Speaking of which, there's a trade show next month, a perfect opportunity to launch your brand. Isn't that where all the luxury beauty brands showcase? I asked nervously. I'm not ready for that. You're more prepared than you realize, he insisted. Success is the best revenge, Delila. Trust me. Gazing around at my budding business, I felt pride, pure, unfiltered pride, something I hadn't experienced since Easton left. Okay, I nodded, squaring my shoulders. Sign me up for the trade show. It's time to show the world what this common girl can do. Bridget hugged me tightly. The Lynches won't know what hit them. No. I smiled, feeling stronger than I had in months. They won't. Your booth location is terrible, Leonard noted, scanning the trade show floor plan, but we can make it work. Standing in the vast convention center, I watched workers set up elaborate displays for the major beauty brands. My modest booth felt like a rowboat among luxury yachts. Remember, Leonard continued, you're not just selling products, you're selling a story, your story. A story about getting dumped by my rich husband? I quipped, arranging sample jars on our small counter. No, he said firmly. A story about a woman who created something authentic and beautiful from scratch. These big brands are all smoke and mirrors. You're the real deal. The first day of the show was overwhelming. Buyers and journalists rushed past our booth, drawn to the flashier displays. My confidence wavered until a woman in her 60s stopped to try our sample face cream. This texture is divine, she remarked, closing her eyes as she applied it. And the scent, so subtle, so natural. It's all organic, I explained, encouraged by her genuine interest. The rose oil is sourced from a small family farm in Oregon. I'm Margaret from Bloom Beauty, she introduced herself. We have boutiques in several major cities. Would you be interested in discussing wholesale options? By afternoon, We had 3 potential retail partners and a growing crowd at our booth. People were drawn to the simplicity of our packaging and the authenticity of our approach. See? Leonard grinned. The truth sells itself. Then I heard a familiar voice that made my blood run cold. Well, if it isn't the kitchen chemist, Noelle drawled, sauntering up to our booth. She was always Tiffany's preferred choice for Easton, a daughter of another wealthy family. How quaint. Can I help you try something? I asked professionally, though my hands trembled slightly. Oh, I'm not here to buy, she smirked. I represent Luxe Beauty now. We're launching our new premium organic line next month. Just wanted to see what the competition was up to. Her eyes scanned our display, lingering on our order book. Well, good luck with your launch, I said firmly. If you'll excuse me, I have customers waiting. After she left, Leonard squeezed my shoulder. Don't let her rattle you, he advised. She's worried, or she wouldn't have come over. The next day brought even more success. A popular beauty blogger praised our night cream on social media, drawing a flood of visitors to our booth. By closing time, we'd sold out of several products and had a waiting list for more. We need to scale up production, Leonard said as we packed up. And fast. I know some manufacturers who... No, I interrupted. We're keeping production in-house. Quality control is everything. He smiled. That's exactly what I hoped you'd say. But you'll need a bigger facility, more staff. Then that's what we'll do, I said, surprising myself with my certainty. I won't compromise on quality ever. On the final day of the show, I arrived early and found a sophisticated woman waiting at our booth. She introduced herself as the beauty director of a prominent magazine. Your brand has created quite a buzz, she said. Would you be interested in being featured in our Rising Star section? As we discussed the details, I noticed Noelle watching from her luxurious booth across the aisle, her expression souring. The magazine feature would come out just before Luxe Beauty's organic line launch. Perfect timing, Leonard whispered after the beauty director left. Sometimes karma works faster than expected. That evening, as we celebrated at a nearby restaurant, Leonard handed me an envelope. Inside was an invitation to speak at an upcoming charity gala. The theme is innovation and sustainability in beauty, he explained. They want you to share your journey. I stared at the invitation, my heart racing when I saw the event details. The Lynch Foundation was a main sponsor. You don't have to accept, Leonard said gently, noticing my expression. Yes, I do, I replied, my voice stronger than I felt. It's time to show them exactly who I've become. Bridget raised her glass. To facing our fears head-on. To karma, Leonard added with a knowing smile. I clinked my glass to theirs, reflecting on how far I'd come since those dark days in Bridget's apartment. My small business was growing beyond my wildest dreams, and now I had a platform to tell my story, my real story. To authenticity, I toasted, and to never letting anyone make you feel small again. As we celebrated, my phone buzzed with another order notification. I was learning that success truly is the sweetest revenge. You're fidgeting again, Bridget said, adjusting my blazer in the mirror. The charity gala was 3 days away, and we were at my final fitting. I'm not fidgeting, I protested, though my fingers continued to smooth the silk fabric. I'm just making sure everything's perfect. The dress is perfect. Your speech is perfect. You're perfect, she assured me, turning me to face her. What's really bothering you? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with another message from Leonard. Just confirmed, entire Lynch family RSVP'd, it read. Yes, including Easton. My stomach lurched. Maybe I should back out. Like hell you will, Bridget snapped. You've worked too hard for this moment. The boutique owner approached with a garment bag. The alterations are complete, Miss Freeman. Would you like to try it on? Once more I felt cornered, suffocated, shaking my head, yearning for fresh air. Outside, I leaned against the building, drawing deep breaths. Suddenly, a familiar voice startled me. Delila turned around to face Ricardo, Easton's father, dressed impeccably as always. Of all places, I muttered. Hello, Ricardo, I managed, squaring my shoulders. He seemed older with more gray hair than I recalled. Heard about your speech at the gala. I met his gaze confidently. Yes, regards to my company's commitment to sustainable beauty. Adjusting his demeanor, he said, Tiffany and I were stunned to see your name on the agenda. I bet. I couldn't help the sharpness. A waitress you disregarded building up a thriving company. He looked awkward. Maybe we were. Stop, I interjected. I have a fitting inside. Back with Bridget. She saw my face and knew. Ran into Ricardo. I informed, slipping into the dress. He tried apologizing or maybe warning me off the gala. I left before knowing. Good, she affirmed. You owe them nothing. That evening, I buried myself in office work, reviewing schedules and order fulfillments. A sudden knock disrupted my focus. Leonard entered with takeout. You're here late, he observed. Thought you'd need dinner and some support. Grabbing a pad thai container, I remarked, came across Ricardo today. Ah, he nodded. And? Nothing, I walked away. I pushed noodles around. Seeing him brought back old scars, I admitted. Good, Leonard surprised me. Channel it into your speech. Revenge isn't my goal, just validation, admitting softly. Exactly why you'll succeed, he encouraged, reviewing my presentation. The ensuing days went by swiftly in preparation, as the magazine feature on Freeman Naturals surged our online orders, barely leaving time to consider the gala until that morning. Car's ready, Bridget announced through the door. Ready? Gazing at the confident woman in the mirror, I reached for my grandmother's necklace, the sole heirloom I possessed. As I fastened it, an unknown number texted, Speaking tonight, we must talk. My hands quivered, deleting the message. Easton texted. I told Bridget, showing my phone. Of course, she scoffed. Now you're successful. Don't let it shake you. Taking my clutch and notes, I resolved, let's show them what they missed. In the car, Leonard called, reviewing last-minute details. You're after Noelle from Luxe Beauty. Don't be shaken by her presentation. I won't, I reassured, city lights rushing by. But as the Grand Hotel neared, seeing the Lynch Foundation banner sent my heart racing. Somewhere inside, my past confronted the present. Ready. Bridget squeezed my hand as deep breaths calmed me. The opulent ballroom buzzed with elites, champagne flutes tinkling under the chandeliers. I noticed Tiffany near the stage, regal in her pearls and patronizing smile. Deep breaths. Bridget ushered me to our table, reminding, You're not that girl anymore. Leonard approached. Change of plans, he said, tablet in hand. You're speaking before Noelle, not after. Why? A silky voice cut through. I requested it, Noelle smugly claimed, her extravagant dress grabbing attention. Prefer closing the show. Schedules finalized, Leonard countered. Noelle's smile didn't waver. Things changed. By the way, Delila, greeted Easton yet? He asks about you. My reply was disrupted as the coordinator called for a speaker gathering. Walking off, I overheard Noelle's dramatism. Poor thing, still so provincial. Mercifully alone in the preparation room, I reviewed notes, muting crowd noise. A door creaked. My heart skipped seeing Easton with grayed hair, looking unexpectedly unsure. Don't, I advised, gathering papers. Whatever it is, don't. You look fantastic, he continued, following your success. Convenient, I retorted, moving to leave, but he blocked me. It was a mistake, he whispered. I let my family, I interrupted. No, you chose them. Own it. The coordinator peeked. You're on in 5. I passed Easton, but his words stopped me. I miss you. I laughed sharply. Now that I'm successful? Not just a waitress anymore? How fitting, I mocked. He flushed. Not fair, he argued. Fair? I challenged. Was it fair when your mother labeled me common? When your father accused me of gold digging? While you stood silent. The coordinator rushed me once more. I squared my shoulders, leaving Easton. Colliding with Tiffany in the hallway, her perfume instantly remembered from the Lynch mansion, now headache-inducing. Delila, darling, she feigned warmth. Your business venture's impressive, considering your background. Smirking, I replied, it's amazing to achieve without relying on a family's coattails. Her expression tightened, but responders ushered me stageward. Through the curtain, Noelle smirked from the front row. The Lynch table sat reserved, Easton's chair vacant. Speaking on sustainable innovation, the host introduced founder and CEO of Freeman Naturals, Delila Freeman. Spotlight enveloping me, heel clicks resonated across the stage. From my periphery, Easton rejoined his parents. "Good evening," I began. "A year ago, told I was lacking worthiness, that my background deemed me unworthy." In specific circles, the Lynch table shifted with unease. Tiffany's pearls shone as she raised her chin in defiance. Yet, what did I learn? I kept gathering strength, realizing success depends not on one's origin but on authenticity, resolve, and being true to one's principles. My presentation revolved around sustainable beauty practices, but I was aware of how profoundly my words were resonating. Each accomplishment I cited subtly reminded them of what they'd overlooked. Noelle's smile turned strained, Easton couldn't look away, and Tiffany seemed as if she'd bitten into something sour. As I ended, applause thundered. Leonard gave an inconspicuous thumbs up from his spot, with Bridget beaming nearby. "Thank you." I addressed the microphone, adding with emphasis toward the Lynch table, "Sometimes rejection redirects you to better opportunities." When I stepped off stage, I felt lighter than I had for months, having confronted my past and emerged stronger. Although the evening wasn't over, in my heart, I'd already claimed a victory. As Noelle approached the stage, her voice sickly sweet for her presentation, I discreetly withdrew to the back of the ballroom, denying her the satisfaction of my full attention. "Quite a performance," Leonard whispered, joining me with a glass of champagne. "But the real show is about to start," he added. "What do you mean?" I inquired. Nodding toward Noelle, he said, "Watch closely," as she introduced Luxe Beauty's new organic line. Something appeared eerily familiar about the ingredient list displayed on the screen. It resembled mine. "Is that?" I began. "Your formulation," Leonard confirmed grimly, "slightly altered. She must have duplicated it at the trade show, when loitering near our booth." My grip tightened on my glass as I realized the illegality of it all. He then showed me photos of my original formulations on his phone, adding, "I had a feeling this might happen, which is why your formulations were patented months ago." Suddenly, Noelle's presentation was interrupted by a legal notice on the backdrop screen. A suited man took the stage, addressing Miss Simmons loudly. "I'm from Freeman Naturals' legal team. We must discuss your company's patent infringement immediately." The room erupted in gasps. Noelle's confident demeanor shattered. "This is absurd. I know nothing of what you're speaking," she protested. Continuing, the man declared, "The formulation presented is secured under patent number 789-324, registered to Freeman Naturals 6 months prior." Whispers buzzed through the ballroom as Tiffany frantically whispered to Ricardo and Easton sat frozen, realizing the situation. "You knew," I acknowledged to Leonard. "You knew she'd attempt this." Leonard replied, "Companies like Luxe Beauty don't innovate, they appropriate. Yet we were ready." Furiously, Noelle left the stage, attempting to confront me, but security intercepted her. "You planned this. You set me up," she accused. "No," I retorted. "You did that on your own." Attempts to restore order by the event coordinator were futile as the news was too captivating for mere charity coverage. Delila Bridget approached me, clutching her phone. "Have you seen? News is erupting on social media, and Luxe Beauty's shares are plummeting." Before I could react, Tiffany confronted me with suppressed fury. "You've made your point. Are you satisfied now? Ruining reputations?" Calmly, I replied, "I didn't ruin anything. Your friend sought to steal my creation. Truth simply caught up." "Truth," she scoffed, "is that you'll never be a part of this world, no matter your success." "Mother, stop." Easton's clear voice sliced through the tension. Unnoticed, he'd arrived. "Haven't you done enough?" Tiffany retreated as if struck. "Easton, surely you don't support her." "Actually," he confessed, "I should have backed her a year ago." Turning to me, he said, "Delila, I know it's overdue, but I'm sorry. I was too fearful. Yes, I admitted, you were. Ricardo joined us, appearing more aged than ever. Perhaps we misjudged you, Delila. Laughing softly, I replied, do you know the difference between us? I didn't need your validation. Only my faith in myself. A journalist approached. Miss Freeman, can we discuss the patent infringement? Certainly, I replied, facing away from the Lynches. Freeman Naturals is committed to defending innovation and genuine creativity. Even as I engaged the reporter, I sensed Easton's focus on me, yet it was inconsequential. The anxious flutters were replaced by a profound assurance. Leonard gently touched my arm. Ready to depart? We meet major retailers tomorrow. They've retracted Luxe Beauty orders. Actually, I wanted to remain longer. This night is proving intriguing. Bridget looped her arm with mine. That's my girl. Besides, you have yet to sample the dessert bar. As we departed, Tiffany's shocked gasp echoed, most likely stunned that I didn't slink away, yet I harbored no shame. Each step I took, every milestone I reached, stemmed from diligence and honesty. The night didn't unfold as expected. It surpassed expectations. The following morning at the office, I was inundated with inquiries as word of Noelle's patent violations spread rapidly. Your inbox is surging. Bridget entered, carrying coffee. 3 major retailers are eager to stock our line, and a leading magazine seeks a follow-up interview. I barely replied before Leonard appeared, uncharacteristically serious. Luxe Beauty's legal team is here. My heart pounded, yet I stood firm, instructing, send them in. 2 stern attorneys led Noelle in, contrasting her previous poised demeanor with a red-rimmed gaze and crinkled attire. Let's proceed swiftly, one began. We propose a settlement. No, I interjected. No settlements. Leaning forward with reason, Noelle implored, Delila, name your terms. Rising calmly, I countered, you aim to claim what I created from nothing, while you and your associates ridiculed me. I acknowledge my error. Noelle's voice faltered, but this disaster is gutting my family's firm. I appeal to you. Irony wasn't lost on me. Here was Noelle, once haughty, now appealing to someone she deemed inferior. Here's what will transpire, I continued tranquilly. You'll publicly own up to what you've done and apologize to consumers for marketing misappropriated formulations, then resign your position. Preposterous, the lawyer objected. No, Noelle softly interjected. She's correct. All eyes turned toward Noelle as she conceded. I was envious. You realized something substantive, while I relied on lineage. I incorrectly assumed I could replicate your success. Clearing his throat, Leonard suggested, we can have our lawyers draft up the agreement, and you'll make the announcement by the end of the day. After they left, Bridget embraced me tightly, exclaiming, that was remarkable. But why didn't you accept their money? Because, I replied, it was never about the money. It was about the truth. My phone buzzed with another call from Easton, which I rejected, only to receive a text immediately after. Please, just 5 minutes, I'm in the lobby. Bridget, reading over my shoulder, warned, don't, but I insisted. I have to, for closure. I found Easton anxiously pacing near the reception, looking more unsettled than ever. Make it quick, I said. I have a company to run. I left her, he blurted. Told my parents I'm done with them controlling my life. Seeing you last night and what you've accomplished made me realize how foolish I've been. It's about time, I responded. He stepped closer, admitting, I never stopped loving you. A year ago, those words would have softened my heart, but now they left me weary. You're right, I stated. It is too late, way too late. He pleaded, can't we try again? I'm different now. But so am I replied, and that's the problem. I've outgrown you, Easton. I've moved beyond all of it. The elevator chimed and Leonard emerged, announcing, Delila, the press is waiting in the conference room. I have to go, I told Easton. Good luck with your journey of self-discovery. As I walked away, he called after me. Is that really it? Did all those years mean nothing? Turning back, I affirmed, they meant everything, which is why it hurts so much when you threw them away. But now, they're just part of my origin story. Entering the conference room, I faced the journalists, their cameras ready. Leonard handed me a statement to review, but I put it aside. "Speak from the heart," he advised. "That's what got you here." At the podium, I gazed at the sea of faces before me. A year ago, I would have been terrified. Now I felt nothing but strength. "Good morning," I began. "Today isn't about patent infringement or corporate scandal. It's about authenticity and standing up for what you've created." Through the window, I glimpsed my reflection. Confident, powerful, free. I had become a woman not defined by the Lynches or their rejection, but by my own choices and strength. That realization was the sweetest victory of all. The autumn breeze carried the scent of success as I cut the ribbon at our new Freeman Naturals headquarters. Camera flashes erupted while Bridget, beside me, wiped away tears of joy. Addressing the crowd, I declared, "With this launch, we unveil our global sustainability initiative, making clean beauty accessible to everyone, regardless of background." The applause was suddenly interrupted by a familiar voice. "Excuse me, may I say something?" Tiffany stood at the crowd's edge, appearing smaller without her usual entourage. The crowd parted as she approached. "Mrs. Lynch," I greeted her neutrally. "This is unexpected." Clearing her throat, she clutched her designer purse like a shield. "I've come to make amends publicly." The journalist's cameras whirred to life. Leonard moved protectively closer, but I signaled him to wait. "Go on," I encouraged. "I was wrong about you." Tiffany's voice echoed across the silent gathering. "My prejudice and pride cost my son his happiness and our family its integrity. While you built something meaningful, we clung to outdated notions of worth." "Why now?" I asked, genuinely curious. "Because yesterday my granddaughter asked why we treat some people differently," her voice cracked. I couldn't provide an answer that didn't shame me. The crowd murmured. Stepping down from the podium, I approached her. "I don't expect forgiveness," she continued, "but you've taught our entire social circle a valuable lesson. Success isn't inherited, it's earned." "Thank you," I replied simply. "Would you like a tour of the facility?" Her eyes widened in surprise. "You'd allow that?" "Of course," I said. "Our doors are open to everyone. That's the whole point." As we toured the production floor, I demonstrated how we sourced sustainable ingredients, employed local workers, and adhered to strict quality controls. "This is remarkable," she admitted, watching our team at work. "Ricardo and I have been doing a lot of thinking. We want to establish a scholarship fund for aspiring entrepreneurs from underprivileged backgrounds. Would you consider being on the selection committee?" I halted. "Are you serious?" "Entirely. Who better to identify genuine talent and determination?" Before I could respond, Bridget rushed over, tablet in hand. "Delila, you need to see this. Noelle just posted her public apology, and it's going viral." The video showed Noelle, humbled and sincere, taking full responsibility for the patent infringement. But her closing words capture my attention. "Delila Freeman showed me that true success comes from innovation, not imitation." Her forgiveness in allowing me to make this right speaks volumes about her character, a character I once foolishly dismissed. I smiled at Tiffany. "Seems today is full of surprises." "Life has a way of humbling us all," she replied softly. Leonard appeared, contracts in hand. "The European distribution deals are ready for your signature, and the sustainable packaging manufacturer in Sweden is on the line." "Actually," I said, "I think we should discuss involving the Lynch Foundation in our global initiative. Their connections could help us reach more communities." Tiffany's eyes filled with tears. "After everything we did?" "The past is the past," I said firmly. "What matters is what we do now." The day concluded with an impromptu strategy session in my office. Bridget ordered takeout while Leonard, Tiffany, and I brainstormed about combining our resources for greater impact. As the sun set over the city, I stepped onto my office balcony. Neon signs blinked to life, including the massive Freeman Naturals logo atop our building.